All right, now you can hear my beautiful voice. Turn the camera on. Excuse me. And that right there, my friends, is the reason why the DEA currently, in their current undertaking, which is stating essentially that they want to repeal hemp law, basically reverse everything that we've done, well, essentially that the FDA has done to further hemp legalization. And that is because, well, I'll explain. Let me put my pretty face on. So, that is because they're dicks, honestly. But the legislation for hemp states that Delta 9, that is confusing for a lot of people. It could be good for a lot of people. Because it's confused the hell out of me too. I honestly didn't even know what the hell my bud tender, the one of maybe 4 that I know that are truly passionate about their craft, was telling me, and I really didn't understand him when he told it to me. He was laughing. Delta 9 is what they list in the legislation. But THCA just converts to Delta 9 upon decarbing, which is heating it up. So whether you make an edible, whatever you do, and it's listed separately. And all the FDA and the DEA had asked from the Stanley brothers when they created the product was to get it below 0.3 THC. That's what they did. Because the initial product, Hippie's Disappointment, was 0.5 THC. Now, I don't know if we came to the understanding of THCA synthesis after, like, if that's the case, then that's even more mind-blowing to me that we're just that new in understanding how cannabis, I would think not, because we've been synthesizing cannabinoids since the 80s. Long before that, but we've synthesized cannabinoids into therapeutic products in the 80s. Marinol, trinibinol, caseinate. And now Epidiolex is at the core of the issue because that's the reason that the FDA altered and changed essentially the definition of what hemp is in order to push it out of categorization with the Scheduled Controlled Substances Act and push it into its own gray area category, which apparently only the FDA knows how to do. It's their gray magic. Right? Got the potheads white magic and the DEA's black magic, and the FDA's over here fucking catch 22ing with their goddamn gray wizard fucking Gandalf, the evil Gandalf over here. Yes, I look like I was tickling a ball sack there. So I'll be doing readouts when I can pay attention enough to see. Maybe I can set an alert up somehow to alert me for the viewership numbers. Anyway, at certain viewer number, if I hit those while I'm live, which sometimes I do, sometimes I go way over, I'm going to start doing readouts for the sponsorships. So yeah, I'll sound like an advertisement for a few seconds here and there. But, hey, like I said, I have everything set up as donation on locals. Major heavy demonetization through Facebook and everywhere else. The one time they paid me, they busted up the account that they paid me through. Essentially, I slipped under the radar using their Reels program. That they remember how they ran the Reels thing. Well, they let me participate in it, and my dab Reels got pushed out into the platform. It's not my fault that people liked them. People clicked the like button. They watched them. So I got paid for that. And YouTube didn't, or Facebook didn't like that, because they like to run the narrative that people don't want. They don't want to see that. And obviously, if they have to pay me because people watched my videos, that puts that narrative fucking kaput. But honestly, what it is here shortly you'll start seeing industrial videos from big corporations and big industry that are running their advertisements for turf slurpers and dabs and all of the shit that I've been doing for the past 3 years, attempting to monetize my channel, attempting to show people, teach people stuff, how-tos, even just the beauty of the close-ups of fucking dab drops and how the dab, all that stuff. You'll start seeing it from the industry now, and it'll be allowed because they'll be paying millions to Zuckerberg to be able to do it. That's what I think. It's like the sons of bitches come into every state that gets newly decriminalized, and they run as fast as they can, abandoning employees and all. Fuck your severance pay. We gotta get to the next state. Gotta start bribing those legislators. Got $500,000 to deliver into the hands of this legislator before 10 p.m. or otherwise I'm not getting my social equity license up there. So fuck your God. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. That was a skit that I had made up in my head. All right. I didn't think that. I'm out of weed. Tomorrow is re-up day. Yes, it would have been convenient if today was re-up day because today is cheap dab day at Apothecarium. But hey, so is it. So is it. Whatever. My family loves to judge me. Did you know that? I have a family. Some of my family's okay, but my immediate family, my little sister loves me. And I think my other sister loves me. My 2 younger sisters. But my mom, she's not a very good person. She's just not a very good person. And I'm just now, at this age, just now coming to the conclusion of whether I really, truly want her to be anything at all involved in my life at all. Because she just, I'm never happy when it comes to any kind of communication with her, or she doesn't even try to communicate with me. I mean, not on holidays, nothing. And it's always been that way. I've been on my own since I was 18. She'll say differently, but everybody in the family knows it's true. See, I went through things like sleeping in a camper in Garrett County winters and driving my car in one gear across the mountains so I could take a shower at my aunt's house because I wasn't allowed inside in less than 0-degree weather in the bathroom, shower, shit, piss. I had to use the bathroom outside because just how it was. So I hold a lot of animosity for the. It's not it. Like, I'm 33 now. The shit that happened when I was a kid with my mom, that stuff is long gone. Doesn't. Yeah, it bugs me, but it's nothing. It's just a blip in the fucking distance. Honestly, what bugs me is the fact that she's never, ever, ever once admitted to the extent of narcissistic abuse that she put me through, or to the extent of intentional emotional abuse that she put me through. And I'm not talking like no pussy Gen Z stuff like mommy told me I couldn't go to the dance or something. That's not that any Gen Z's anything is invalid. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a big push today to play victim for anybody that throws up the victim card to fucking just pity for her and play all into it. Yeah, it's not the point, but yeah, I suppose that's what they call gaslighting, right? I think I got an eyelash in my eye. Get the fuck out of there. I get it. I think I got it. I think it was actually a hair, not an eyelash. Goddamn hair sticking down there, like curling around, tucking me in the eye. Maybe. Isn't that fucking weird how an eyelash can be in your eye or something, and it's like bugging the shit, like irritating the hell out of it, and it feels like all of a sudden, like, relief, it's gone. It's like, no, no, it's not. It's just laying in a little puddle there somewhere, and it's not touching your eye, and 2 seconds later, it's like, ah! Anyways, yeah, I get it. And I don't really talk about it, honestly, because there's people who've been through a hell of a lot worse than I went through as a kid. I had clothes on my back, always had food on my belly, I was always fed. It was just the extent. If we would have ever went to anybody about it, we wouldn't have been living there. But anytime anything ever happened like that, us kids were always told, no, 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 don't take you away, don't take you away, and then you really won't like where you're at. So nothing ever got said ever, which maybe that's for the best. I mean, I didn't turn out completely insane, only partially. Just drives me fucking crazy that mainly that my mother chooses, not even choosing her spouse over me, it's the ignorant things that she does when she does it. Like just one example, whenever I was still communicating with her, we was at a wedding after thing. My cousin said, "Hey, can you take me to town in your mom's car?" I said, "Yeah, sure." I said, "Mom, I need the keys real quick. Can I use the car?" She says, "Yeah." And as she was saying, "Yeah," she caught eye contact with Gail, and Gail gave her a real hard glare. Her wife, and the yeah turned into a no real quick. It's just like that kind of shit. And then shit like that I had to deal with when I was before I had moved out with Gail thinking she was my stepdad or some shit. Like literally trying to fucking bump chest with me and like fucking throw down with me in the house up until the point where finally one day we did throw down and I put her on her fucking ass. Which no, it's nothing to brag about. She was a female. She's older than me, but if you're gonna fucking grab a hold of me and punch me in the face and keep punching me in the fucking head, and when I'm asking you to stop over and over and over again and telling you stop before I put you on your ass, and then you continue to do it, I'm going to pick you up and put you on your fucking ass. I'm not going to hurt you, but I'm going to restrain you, and you're not going to hurt me anymore. And then, of course, I'm the nice person, so I stood up. I didn't hit her. Stood up, let her stand up. And as I turned around to check on my mom, she picked up a pony bottle that was still closed, a beer bottle, like a small beer bottle, bitch beer bottle, and smacked me across the back of the head with it, which just pissed me off. It didn't hurt me or knock me out or anything. I turned back around and put her back on the floor again. That turned into my mother and her both getting arrested. And then when they got out of jail, I got kicked out. It was right after my house had burnt down. And yeah, because I protected my mother from the drunk that was choking her, I got kicked out. Didn't have a home, mind you. I literally got kicked out to the fucking street. Slept in a tent for a while. Had that little house that had holes in the roof and had no electricity. That's what I posted. I actually, and when I lived in there after my main house burnt down, I lived in like a rundown fucking wannabe trailer that my cousin lives in now. It's actually remodeled. I sold it to her when I moved. But yeah, I lived in that little fucking trailer that didn't have any. It had holes in the roof and no electric, no plumbing. I had one electric ran into the box so that I could run a toaster oven and my television and DVD player. And I literally had my mattress in the living room up against the corner with the TV there, so I could like use the corner to hold the heat of the toaster oven and keep a comforter and a couple blankets over top of me. Yeah, it was real dangerous. And yes, I ended up with second, third degree burns on my body by the time the winter was over. One time I just leaned over top of it and the door of it was open and it literally it was like a hot knife on my arm, like sliced into my arm with the heat before I realized it. And then another time I actually fell on top of it and it had the heat guard off of it because I was using it for a heater. So I fell right on top of the fucking thing, burnt my neck, burnt the side of my face, my arm. I remember that night. I was just sitting with a cold towel, lay it down. As soon as I felt the pain, I'd pick it back up and lay it back down. As soon as the pain would come back, I'd pick it up. It's the only way to get rid of the fucking burn pain if you don't have Silvadene cream. But it only works for a few seconds at a time. But those few seconds are so fucking relieving that it's worth it. Anyways, sorry. I had a little bit of a stressful evening. So I was just thinking a little bit. But yeah, the DEA, it's funny that they wait till the FDA forwards them the information that they gathered regarding the therapeutic application of cannabis and wait for the DEA to say about rescheduling. And the DEA is like, well, we're not only going to not reschedule, what we think. The hemp thing, that's bullshit too. And they're not wrong, which is why the cannabis industry is backing them. Well, it's not why. The reason why is because the cannabis industry wants to take out their competition that they have with Delta 8, Delta 10s, CBD derived products, and corner that into the market themselves as well. That way, hey, you just come to the dispensary and buy your Delta 8 and Delta 10 CBD products. Why not? Everything else is sold here. They cornered the entirety of the cannabis market. Now they're going to corner the entirety of the hemp market. They've already, Maryland has sued Maryland Hemp. Maryland Cannabis has sued Maryland Hemp, saying that they want them to abide by, this was a little while back, a few months back, they wanted them to abide by Maryland cannabis legislation rather than federal hemp legislation, which it's not considered as marijuana, so it can't be classified. It's just however, as soon as they change the language in the writing to include that THCA be included in the levels of Delta 9 that's being registered. However it gets worded, it doesn't even matter if they say you have to include half of the level of Delta, or they say you can use, like say it's 5, but they let you use 2.5. It's still not going to matter. It's still going to cause a big fucking dent in the industry. I wondered, that was seriously making me scratch my head for a while as to how the fuck, because that's why I kept posting on my Facebook page. I'm like, there's no way this shit's real. Like, how are they claiming that these are real? But I mean, they are sort of running kind of like, they are real. They are going to get you high, but they're not as good as the shit you get from a dispensary because they're not being made with quality cannabis. They're being made, yes, they have THC in them. They're still going to get you high and do what they're supposed to do. But that THC is in there from a whole shit ton of very bad cannabis. Not bad cannabis, but poorly grown cannabis, and cannabis that hasn't been in the same way vetted that cannabis that's on the recreational and medicinal market would be. So there's all those aspects that tie into it too. It's a highly unregulated edibles market insofar as where the hemp edibles are concerned. Hence the reason why they've gotten away with converting THCA to Delta 9 for 3-4 years now. And apparently now they're just now figuring that it just doesn't make sense to me, because all the formulas, like, we know everything. So how the fuck do legislators make legislation that fucks up and says that, like, that's a big fuck up. That's a really big fuck up. Like, if THC actually were deadly or dangerous or actually, like they say it is, like, gonna make somebody fucking go all postal and if it really was, then I mean that's a pretty big fuck up. You know what I mean? THCA at 4 or 5%, say between 1 and 3%, if we're being very, very generous. 1 and 3%, right? That's still 1-3% THCA. That takes that 0.3% that they were so fucking worried about and had to have that 0.3%. And it takes it to 1.3% or 2.3 or whatever the THC level is, because it's so. What I'm saying is, I don't know how they didn't know that. And if they, like, what are the options there? They knew it, and they did this just to push Epidiolex through to market. They went ahead and said, get it to 0.3%, and don't worry about the THCA. We just won't mention it in the legislation. We don't have to say what other ones convert into it, because the entire cannabis plant converts into. I can see the legal argument now. Like, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I can kind of suss it out. And for example, all of the compounds in cannabis are synthesized from geranyl diphosphate and olivetolic acid. They both start out right there. Those two compounds come together to make geranyl cannabigerolic acid. So you get olivetolic acid and diphosphate, geranyl diphosphate, and olivetolic acid form together to give you cannabigerolic acid. Cannabigerolic acid, CBGA, then forms into your all the other cannabinoids in one way, shape, or form. The little intro thing showed the decarboxylation of THCA to THC. Then you have the oxidation, then you can have the oxidation of THC, which turns into CBN, or you can have the decarboxylation of CBNA, which turns it into CBN as well. Now, given the direct relationship of CBN to THC, even though it's a reverse relationship, you get THC is oxidized into, would it not be feasible that you could say that, I mean, I'm not a chemist, I don't know, is it possible to re-add like to reoxidize. You know what I mean? So yeah, and stuff. I kind of lost track of my thought there, but I know what I was saying. I really lost track of my thought there. I would play no good live tonight, guys, so you'll have to forgive the very laissez-faire, whatever you want to call it. Ow! There was my knuckle burned on the large flame of the butane lighter I have in my hand. I'm kind of sad today because my cannabis plants, I just don't seem to have the magical fingers for it. Somebody has cursed my cannabis hands. I have all sorts of amazing plants and flowers out in my living room, but when it comes to cannabis, I've gotten two to fruition so far, and it wasn't a very good fruition. Yes, I was going to say I could see the argument now about, oh, well, we didn't include THCA because all of the compounds can be synthesized into one another. It's just a matter of which one gets synthesized into which one first, or some shit like that. Like CBN from THC. And when are they going to attack CBN? Because I know I mark my words, it will happen. They will go after CBN. CBN will be on the target, like the fucking restricted stuff you can only get medicinally, or I just see it because it's so closely related to THC and it has a slight psychoactive component. And I'm not even sure if it's the psychoactive component of CBN is relative to CB2 receptors, or I was reading something earlier. What was I reading earlier? It was talking about the absorption of one of the molecules in a CB2 receptor in the gut, but it had nothing to do with relaxation, but it had something to do with it was the medicinal therapeutic application of whatever the compound was, but it was being absorbed through the gut in CB2 receptors, and it was making me. It was something that I thought was for some reason would have been a CB1 absorption in the brain. Or no, that's what it was. It was said it was CB2 receptors in the brain is what it was. It wasn't CB1 in the gut. It was CB2 receptors in the brain is where they were being absorbed at. Because you have CB1 and 2 in the brain and in your body, but just overall, majoritively, CB1 sativa heady in your brain, CB2 mostly in your guts, hence beta-caryophyllene dietary applications into the endocannabinoid system, things I've spoken about before. Oh, Rick, Morty, Rick, that's Rick, right? Is that Rick? I know rough cartoons. Pickle Rick, I think that's Rick. Some more hidden pastry. Cheers. Those who want to see that. chills and made my ears shake. It made my ears itch, gave me chills, and made my head shake. Heat it up, give me some more smoke. That's fast. Cheers, Internet. X, Twitter, whatever you are now. Elon Musk. I love that Elon's okay with Twitter. He's like, yeah, you guys aren't corrupting the company? No, no, you're not doing the government's bid? No, no. Oh, okay. Well, all right. I'm gonna buy your fucking company, and then fire 3/4 of your company, and we're gonna make it run way better than it did before. And nobody's gonna not be able to put up what they want to, because we're gonna have a thing called community notes where we actually tell people the truth about what's going on instead of trying to hide shit from them. Imagine that. That's what happens on a free, open market, or at least that's what happens when somebody like Elon Musk has the ability to fucking, and I'm not saying everything he does is good and great, but when he has the ability to fucking throw money at them and go through their barriers to entry and take their shit anyway. See, as the little guys, as the people, the peasants, we all have to stick together to do that. That's part of what I try to do here is advocate to get the message out to people that cannabis legalization isn't what people think it is. It is, but it's not. You understand what I'm saying? They're trying to legalize this shit into packs of Marlboros and Salems on the counter, on the and that might be good, okay, for some consumers, but I'm telling you, from the history of cannabis and from the people who love cannabis and give a shit about cannabis that have created the cannabis, and most of the people in that world, even those working for these companies, want to see an open market where people aren't being blocked by $50,000 barriers to entry just to buy a goddamn license. If I can buy a license, if I have $1,000 and I want to grow corn, I can fucking grow corn. If I have $1,000 and I want to grow tomatoes, I can grow tomatoes. And I can sell them and make a profit and pay the taxes and do what the fuck ever I have to do on it. But if I have $1,000 and I want to grow a cannabis plant and sell the proceeds of it, I can't. I like, what the fuck is that? I have to pay $50,000 to the state and jump through a bunch of hoops and do DEI initiative tasks, and the DEI thing, the social equity thing was enough to begin with, and then they really push it further. We need these people of this ethnicity, of this gender, of this. That's crazy stuff. I'm sorry, that is. If the person's good for the job, they're good for the job. There's already an issue with hiring pretty faces instead of good bud tenders. It hired people who don't even know cannabis because they know a piece of machinery. Still, that's understandable. I get that, but that's why the one guy who worked there, I didn't understand him. I was like, dude, how did you get a job here? Because he was such a square, like such a fucking like. You could tell he like never. He wasn't about that. I was like, how are you here? And he's like, I worked at Essential Oils Lab on a supercritical. And I was like, okay. Or he's not on a supercritical, but it was a machine like that, he said. Which That also gets me a little, it makes you think about whenever the night I got fired, whenever he told me that he couldn't run the machine, he wanted me to run it by myself. They think that I was up to something, and I didn't do nothing. Like I didn't. I'm not a fucking mad scientist or something. I am in my own personal time with like topological protocol and shit. But I wasn't planning on using their fucking lab for anything, or like I have no idea what they thought the fuck was up. Like he had to have known how to do that. He's told when he said that he had ran other machinery like similar to that in essential oils place. But that night, I've told it several times. He's like, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable running this by myself, man. You think you can do it?" Because lead Crotch Rocket McGee abandoned us after unlocking the building. Wasn't there at 7 after. Yes, I was 7 minutes late. That is on me 100%. However, what fucking manager just leaves a weed facility when it's supposed to be a fucking night shift run? In my opinion, that's on the fucking manager. But and the way it's not on the manager because the manager is buddy with the person who has to set up their quote unquote proprietary whatever. The guy that got pissed off and left, he's best buddies with the person who has to fix their super special machine. So without him, they don't get no Krabby Patty, right? No Crotch Rocket McGee, no Krabby Patty. So they get rid of me because Crotch Rocket McGee was pissed off because I was 7 minutes late. But then, I guess, but I thought that, but then the trainer shows up a half hour late. And then I'm like, well, what the fuck is this? You're later. And he didn't even know. He didn't know he was late until I told him, like, hey, like 11:35, he starts asking questions. I'm like, dude, we're supposed to be here at 11. You would think that would have made me look better. Like that after a week, I was able to deal with the situation of the manager abandoning his fucking post, my trainer not knowing what to do. So I took over the notes that I had. I took the notes that I didn't have taken down from my trainer and used his notes for what I didn't have. And I ran the fucking supercritical, finished the run, like terps were bled off and the crystals were harvested. And I did the fucking full extract all the way into the fucking putting it into the freezer. So like I did the whole thing by myself. Is that you'd think that would be good on me. But they acted like that was confirmation that they fucking definitely had just busted me or something. Like I don't know what the fuck, man. Like, just because I learn fast and I can do shit. Kind of like in high school one time, they told us to trace a brain in psychology class. And I got kicked out of this psychology class, even though I went to college for psychology. I got kicked out of my high school psych class because he told us to trace a brain. And he specifically said, and I heard him, he said, don't trace it. I want it a different size than what's in the book. And I did not intentionally, I just looked at the book and drew. And my hand naturally draws what my fucking, it just happened. I swear to fucking God. Like, that's what I did. I looked here and drew and like put the lines of the hemispheres, and I was looking at the book and then kind of looked. When I turned it in, he takes the paper and puts it over the book, and he fucking argued with me until he kicked me out of the class. And like in the moment there, told me to get my shit and get out. Then I traced the brain, wanted me to redo it. Like he kept telling me to redo it. And after I turned it in, I could leave. I was like, no, I'm not redoing it. I said, he's like, you traced it. I was like, no, I didn't. I did not fucking trace it. And to this day, at 33 years old, Dr. Oxford, Mr. Oxford, I'm telling you, I didn't trace that fucking brain. I don't care if it was the same size and everything was exactly the proportion of it was in the book. And your old ass, if you're still alive, probably still doesn't believe me today. But I didn't trace that fucking brain. I didn't trace no brain. Silly. Silly, silly, silly stuff. Funny what sticks out in your mind from high school and stuff. I was mad about that. I was upset about that. I was like, dude, I did a good fucking job drawing that goddamn brain. You know, fucking like his instructions technically were make sure it's not the same size, and I did draw exactly the same size. That I owned up to. I said that, but I'm like, I didn't fucking trace it though. Yeah, that was the main contention as to why I got kicked out. Is he wanted me to admit that I traced it, and I won't say that I won't. Yeah, that's not who I am. You're not gonna get me to say I did something I didn't do. I don't know for sure, but I would probably fall on my own sword for something like. You want me to say something I did that I know that I didn't do? Like if I know I did something and I will confess. You know what I mean? I'm truthful about it. If something like awfully horrible and you gotta torture it out of me, I would eventually fucking tell you. But revealing all of my deep dark secrets. No. You're a bad man. Bad, bad man. I don't know why I can't get as high as I want to right now. It's fucked up. Oh, oh my goodness. I do think it's like stuck in a little bubble in there. There's an eyelash stuck in there in a little bubble. I doubt there's any number. I can't see if there's any number in it. It's probably not. I'll look at it in a second. Alright. Yes. Heating it up again. It'll be fun to clean out. But hey, baby wipes. Don't use alcohol, use baby wipes. I'm telling you. Clean it out way faster. Hidden pastry from Kind Trees. Really, it's like a 50-50. It's got a pretty hefty sativa chest. Not jitteriness, but it's like right on the edge of getting to that jittery point. Hey, yeah, 2 nights ago I went live and I didn't even I did the whole live. It wasn't even fucking live. Like I did my whole smoke session. I talked and had the scroll thing going. Then I go to end the live and it goes live. And if you know that night like I went live for like 5 seconds and then went back off. It's because I thought I was hitting end live, but it was actually then starting the live. And the night after that, did I fall asleep the night after that? I think I fell asleep with the banger in my hand. Like, not fell asleep, but you know what I mean? Spaced out. There's a good cough, it's like deep and it's like healthy and chest relieving. Then there's that itchy cough that's like, and gets your shit all itchy and back all itchy. And yeah, I hate that one. Try to avoid that one. Is that beta or trans carrier? I don't know. Probably trans. Yep, it is trans carrier. And the trans carrier is 0.74, beta mercium 1.23%. Then you can tell, I'm telling you, every time I get shit that's like sativa heavy in any way that has beta myrcene amplification in it, I get a nosebleed. I'm telling you, the verification there, the validation of my hypothesis there is that sativa, the beta myrcene in the sativa is amplifying the potency of the THC, proliferating THC on CB1 receptors, and that either through that psychoactive experience is causing heightened blood pressure, or heightened blood pressure is somehow a result thereof. There's something was happening with the heart. It's because I get a sensation in my chest, and it's sativa oriented. It feels like a numbness that starts in my chest, and then it spreads out from there. That's always how I've experienced it. And when I was started smoking, I would experience that numbness, and it would freak me out. And I'd think my heart wasn't beating. I'd have to like try to feel my heart, and I'd space out. And I would. You've experienced that. It's like a very common experience among cannabis users. So yeah, I believe that is the psychoactive amplification of beta myrcene causing various levels of, I don't know, something with the heart or blood pressure, because it gives me a nosebleed. Not all the time, but when it really hits me fucking heavy and hard and like really gets me and grabs me, yeah, I get a nosebleed. That's why I had to end the live the other night. I fucking had a bad nosebleed. And this, I probably, it says 50-50 online, but I would feel fine if it's like 55-45 sativa, because